Mike Dell's World number 419 for November 13th, 2025.
I think it's time for Mike Dell's World.
There it is.
Some people say that under that hat, Mike Dell has a chip in his head. Unfortunately, it's a Dorito.
And I don't even like Doritos. Anyway, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever the case may be. Today I'm going to be talking about Clinch Park in Traverse City. And Clinch Park, I guess the definition isn't super intuitive. I guess that's the right way of putting it. But according to the Brave browser search, Clinch Park is a public park located along West Grand Traverse Bay in Traverse City, offering a large beach, a splash pad, concessions, and access to the city's municipal marina. The park is traversed by the TART Trail, that's the Traverse Area Recreational Trail System, making it a popular destination for walking, biking, and waterfront viewing or year-round. It also features a well-maintained grounds, shaded public picnic areas, clean restrooms, and a shallow swimming area suitable for children. So anyway, I'm not going to go into the ratings of the park, but Clinch Park's always been kind of the focal point of the downtown waterfront area of Traverse City. It's on West Grand Traverse Bay. Now, of course, I said that in the beginning, but I remember it as the zoo. When I was a kid, there was a zoo there. The Clinch Park Zoo, had an aquarium, had, animals pretty much just, local to Michigan. They didn't have, like elephants and monkeys and zebras and all that stuff. It was, buffalo, deer, different birds, different, different rodents and whatnot that were local to Traverse City. But the zoo was always kind of the, a cool place to go when we were little kids. And, even a little later on, it was quite interesting. But one of the things that the park started like in the early 30s, or at least that's when things started happening there. I believe the zoo was started in 1930 or so. I'm kind of looking through some of my factoids here, but we also had a thing called the miniature city, and that started in the early 30s, it says, but it had the Park Place, and the Park Place was built in 1930. But let's see, where's the miniature city on my list of stuff? Yeah, the idea for the miniature city, sometimes called the mini city or miniature Traverse City, was in the early 1930s. It was largely driven by Con Foster. He was a local booster and civic leader who wanted to create a distinctive attraction for Clinch Park, partly as a way of providing work during the Great Depression. And my piano teacher and for a short time violin teacher, Moselle Bennett Sawyer, and she was in her 90s when I was a kid in the 70s. But her father actually built a lot of these miniature buildings. There were, construction began in 1931, city workers building scale replicas of downtown buildings. Many of the models were quite detailed, built from original blueprints of the full-scale structures. The miniature city included around 100 buildings, according to the source. Now, the miniature city was there, I want to say, into the 80s. I don't remember when it let's see here. Let's look a little more on my factoid sheet here. The original installation was near Clinch Park at the southern shore off of Grand Traverse Bay. 1953, when the Grandview Parkway opened, the mini city was moved to another section of the park to accommodate the new infrastructure. Yeah, Grandview Parkway, by the way, is a divided boulevard, I guess would be, or a parkway. I guess that makes sense. But it kind of separates downtown from the waterfront. It wasn't that way originally. It was all part of the thing. But the Grandview Parkway now cuts through between the Boardman River and downtown and the waterfront. But it was moved. The mini city ceased operations in 1973. Geez, I think I've been there after that, but I don't know. Maybe it was that long ago because, it's been a long time. And after removal from Clinch Park, the collection of models was sold or transferred. In 1983, the city sold the collection to the Music House Museum in Acme. The Music House Museum has some of the original buildings from the mini city, and some are stored and a few are displayed. I haven't been out to Music House in a while. But, for example, the original St. Francis Church and the Pier Marquette Railroad Station models are shown at the Music House Museum. I have to go out there. I haven't been out to Music House in quite a while. That's a whole other thing I could talk about. But anyway, that was kind of a neat thing. Another neat thing was a train. And the train was a little miniature steam train. And I guess I'm tied to it a little bit because I worked for a printing company here in Traverse City, and one of the magazines we printed was Live Steam. And that's for hobbyists that build real steam engines. And this train, I don't believe I know when exactly the train was built or put into use, but you could get a train ride around the Clinch Park Zoo. They had little miniature train tracks. I mean, not miniature. It was big enough for kids to ride on and even adults. Had like 4 or 5 cars and all that stuff. And it was really neat. You could get a little thing. So, some of the city employees were steam engine train engineers. And let's see, I'm trying to think. I think I had this on my sheet here. Anyway, no, don't have that in there, I don't think. But anyway, the train was pretty cool, and that was taken out, I believe, in 2007, and it was brought out to the steam engine showgrounds in Buckley, Michigan. They have a big steam engine show every year in the summer, and I guess you can still ride on the what used to be the city of Traverse City, I think was the name of the train. Anyway, you could still ride on it out there at the Buckley Steam Engine grounds during the steam engine show every year. But yeah, it was 2007 when that was taken out. Clinch Park is also the marina, the municipal marina for Traverse City. So, there's a lot of boat slips in there, plus there's some transient boat slips. So if you're cruising around the Great Lakes in your yacht or your sailboat or whatever, sometimes you can get a mooring there at the Clinch Park Marina, and you can get fuel, and they have a clubhouse, and those that live there or not live there but have a boat slip there, also have access to power and sewer and all that stuff that you do at marinas. So it's still a going thing. In fact, they expanded it not too many years ago and put up a new break wall But yeah, a lot of big yachts come in there. If they don't come in completely, they moor outside in the bay and come in by dinghy. But again, there was a zoo there. And then, more recently, they took out the zoo. And I believe that was also in 2007. Let me, all right. So yeah, the 1930s, Clinch Park Zoo, a small zoo, an aquarium, and other attractions. Let's see, what else is in here for the zoo? There's a few. Yeah, the zoo also got taken out in 2007. I don't know what they did with all the animals. I can't imagine they just opened the cages and let them go, but you never know. But the zoo's no longer there, and the aquarium's no longer there. But what they did do is they put in a splash pad, or they call it the park's waterscape. And, it's right on the beachfront, and it's just one of those concrete pads with water shooting up, and kids run through it, kind of like the sprinkler or whatever. The kind of the funny thing about the splash pad is they had a whole lot of issues. In July of 2013, the splash pad had to be shut down after a sewer pump station failure caused sewage to back up into the underground reservoir feeding the water feature. The diversion system that was supposed to protect the facility failed, and the contamination potentially exposed children to human waste. That's not great. But in 2014, they got it figured out. But they figured out that there was 18 major design flaws and construction flaws, and they did get that good. They got that all set. In early 2016, a settlement discussion around a lawsuit and all that. So, and there's a store here in Traverse City called Roy's General Store. I think I mentioned it before. And the sign lady puts out funny signs, and I believe there was something in there about if you need any plumbing parts, such as to fix your splash pad, come to Roy's or something like that. It was quite funny and made the local news and a lot of social media around it. But that was back, like I said, 2013, 2014, stuff like that. But Clinch Park's still quite the thing. And now, when they took out the Morgan McCool plant there at that location and came up with the open space. I guess that's part of the park. And then later on, they took down the coal-fired electric plant and expanded the open space. So, Clinch Park's quite a thing, and it's kind of fun to walk out on the break wall. You can go out there and check that out. Like I said, there's a boat launch there as well, and parking for your boat. If you want to put your boat in the water there, you can. So it's kind of a nice attraction. There's also a museum there, or there was a museum there, the Con Foster Museum. You remember Con Foster from also pushing for the miniature city, but he had a museum there. And that building, when it ceased to be a museum, turned into a little independent movie theater called the Bijou by the Bay. And that was all part of the Traverse City Film Festival, which is no longer. So now I just heard on the news tonight they're looking for a new use for the Con Foster Museum building, but that's right on the edge of the what used to be the zoo, but the park proper, and then it's between there and the beach. And there's also a tunnel that goes from I guess I don't remember exactly where it goes. I think there's like a bridge over the river, and then there's a tunnel that goes under the parkway to get to the park, and that's still a thing. And when I was a kid, we used to ride our bikes through there because the TART trail, the bike trail, went through the tunnel, and it was a way safer way of going across the parkway to get to the beach. But and I'm sure I'm missing all kinds of things about Clinch Park, but it's, like I said, it's kind of the main waterfront in Traverse City, and a lot of the municipal land and county land and everything runs all along that whole stretch of beach from what used to be the Holiday Inn, now called the Delamar Hotel on West Bay. And it goes all the way down to the intersection of M22, M72, and the Parkway. That whole stretch is public beach. And there's volleyball courts, there's, swimming areas, and a lot of people, in the summertime, moor their boats right offshore along the beach. So there's usually a bunch of boats there in the summertime. And it's a very nice little area, especially, being right close to downtown like that. So it's easy walking distance for people visiting Traverse City. And those of us that live here, we sort of avoid it like the plague in the summer. Mostly. It's also the best place to watch the air show for the Cherry Festival because center of the air show box is there at the open space right next to Clinch Park Marina. So if you can get yourself down there for the air show, that's the best place to watch it. And with that, we'll call this a podcast. We'll catch you tomorrow. I'm not sure what I'm doing tomorrow, but I will do a podcast tomorrow. Catch me later.